Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again for another First Impression Fridays. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Il Profvmo Vanille Bourbon and Parfums de Nicolai Vanille Tonka. So, stay tuned for that. And if you like fragrance reviews, cologne comparisons, top 10 lists, and first impressions, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So I have actually only heard of these brands, both of them. Parfums de Nicolai, I've seen them around on Lucky Scent. I've actually never really heard anyone talking about them. I think I've seen a few mentions of them in the Facebook groups. And the other one, Il Profvmo, I don't think I've really heard anything about them at all, but Vanille Bourbon sounded interesting to me, so I want to try it out. I decided to pick both these fragrances just because they both have vanille or vanille in the name, so it seemed suitable to put them together. But you know what? Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to try the Il Profvmo first. I have really no idea what to expect. Well, the only thing I really expect from this is there's going to be vanilla in this, and there's going to be bourbon. Names can be very deceiving though, so let's see what this one is like. So I definitely do get a bit of a boozy vibe there. It's a little bit, it's funny because it's actually a little bit fresh. Okay, that initial freshness sort of burst is already gone, and it's more of a thick, almost syrupy kind of smell. There is like a very slight sweetness to this, and it almost feels a little bit like a thick syrupy candy or something like that. Something in here actually reminds me a little bit of like Vicks or Halls, like a cough drop. I know some people describe Layton as having that quality, and I am one of the people that does sometimes smell that on Layton. Other times it just smells amazing, but then sometimes I smell this sort of Vicks or Halls kind of a vibe, and I kind of got that here. I definitely kind of have that vibe. I don't really pick up a lot of vanilla. I can see how it might have some kind of booziness, but again, this is not coming off extraordinarily boozy. It is a little bit syrupy, and I know a lot of fragrances that are boozy do have a syrupy quality to them. This one, at least to my nose, does not. It is actually it's kind of toning down where that sort of, the Vixy sort of feeling is disappearing. But it does still have a bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a candied vibe there that I'm not really sure what's going on. But again, it doesn't smell really heavy on the bourbon. I don't smell a lot of whiskey or anything like that. But I am going to let that one sit for a little while, see if it changes, develops a little bit, as it is already starting to change a little bit, and hopefully it's going to sort of grow into something. I mean, right now it doesn't smell bad, but you know, I'm kind of indifferent to it. But I'm going to move over to the Parfums de Nicolai. Now, I have some other samples from them, and I think Patchouli Intense is one of them. That's the one that I think I'm really excited to try. But Vanille Tonka does sound good. It sounds like it's going to be sweet, kind of gourmandy kind of fragrance, and I do enjoy those. So let's see what this has to offer. So I guess it's funny, I actually get a little bit of a sort of greeny, citrusy kind of vibe. I definitely feel like there's citrus here. There's something a little bit fresh, kind of like a greenness to it. I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised about that. So I do kind of get a little bit of an underlying sweetness, a little bit of a kind of a candyish vibe, but again, this one is not really vanilla heavy, not what it smells like right now anyways. On the top, there is definitely some kind of citrus, and there is, I don't know, it smells almost like a little bit like pine or something kind of green. I gotta be honest, there's actually something in there that reminds me a little bit of like cleaning product or something. I am super shocked that this smells this way. I'm gonna put a little bit more on. Sometimes I find if you kind of don't put that much on, you don't really get a feel for the fragrance that's accurate. And let's hope that's all it is, because I gotta say, I'm left wondering why this is called what it is. So it does come across, now that I put a little bit more on, it does come across almost a little bit boozy. But there is definitely a strong citrus there. I mean, it feels like maybe it's a little bit of lemon and bergamot, but I don't really know what it is. And it's very hard to characterize, but it does have a little bit more of a sweet quality to it. There's something about it that does smell familiar. Like, there is something in the background that gives me this kind of impression of like hard candies. Maybe it's the vanilla mixing with the citruses to create this kind of candied accord that is one of the more prominent things here, but I really don't know what to make out of this one. I'm going to go back to Vanille Bourbon, see if it's developed a little bit, see if it's grown a little bit. And it does actually smell a lot more complex and actually a lot better. So I gotta say this, even just off the first few minutes as this one has developed, it's become a much more robust fragrance. There is like a sort of nice thickness there. With almost smells a little bit like a boozy, fruity kind of vibe. It's not like super, super boozy. I wouldn't say this is like comparable to Single Malt or even Apple Brandy by Killian, and certainly not Straight to Heaven Extreme, but this does have this sort of nice kind of fruity, slightly boozy accord that's just a little bit sweet but not too sweet. And there is something very warm and inviting about it. I mean, it doesn't come off really spicy, but it is a cozy fragrance, so there is something about this composition that it has going for it that makes it a nice sort of cozy fragrance. Really, really nice, actually. Really, really nice. I'm actually starting to really dig this one. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to go back to the Parfums de Nicolai. But just before I do that, this Il Profvmo is a good first impression on the brand. I've never really heard anything of them. And this one does come off really, really nice. Just pleasant, sweet, a little bit fruity, a little bit inviting, and a little bit warm and cozy. So back to the Parfums de Nicolai. Vanille Tonka. Probably said that wrong. But let's see if it's developed. There's still something in there that just gives me this sort of greenish vibe. Like, I almost want to say there's like hay or tea or something up top, and I really don't know what to make of this one. I mean, it's hard to say. Sometimes I find with the dabbers that I don't get a good impression, maybe because it doesn't disperse the same way, but something about this is just not sitting well with me. I mean, I would almost venture to say there's like a hint of spice in there. But all in all, it is one that is a little bit hard to digest. It's definitely something that it doesn't resonate with me, and there's just something about it that is not working so well. Like I said, there's kind of this tea-like, hay-like accord up top, something in between that, and it just, I mean, I guess it's not unpleasant, but it's not really what I was expecting. I'm not really getting much sweetness. This doesn't have a lot of vanilla in it from what I can smell. Not a lot of tonka. Now, I do know that, both of these are base notes, basically. So it is possible that you just don't pick up a lot of them on the first impression. As this dries down, it becomes a lot more sweet, vanilla, fluffy kind of fragrance. But right now, it just, I would give it a Hey Like Accord. Yeah, something like that. That just doesn't resonate with me. But, you know, talking about both these fragrances, Parfums de Nicolai, fortunately I already have some other samples from them, and some of them, or I think the Patchouli Intense is one that I have heard talked about as really good, so I'm looking forward to trying that. And there's going to be some other ones from the brand to, you know, let me see what it's all about. As far as occasions for this Parfums de Nicolai, I really have no idea. Like I said, because it really has this weird sort of almost citrusy, almost hay-like accord, I don't really know what it's supposed to be doing, and yeah. I mean, for me, bad first impression, but like I said, it might be one of those that takes, you know, 15-20 minutes to really develop. Il Profumo. Yeah, there is something warm and inviting about it. It's cozy. It's a little bit sensual. Like I said, it's not overtly boozy. So I know the name bourbon is in the name, but it, again, doesn't come off extremely strong. This one is actually fairly classy. I could see this one wearing this one on a night out. I mean, they both don't seem like they're crazy projections. This one doesn't seem super strong. But that could be good because it is a little bit cozier, so I could easily see wearing this in a little bit more of an intimate situation. You don't really want to overpower the person if you're going to be really close to them. And it does have a little bit of that cozy, sensual quality. I do like that sort of fruity vibe that it has going on. It is ultimately really nice, and I will give this one a definite solid good. I'd have to see how the whole fragrance unfolds, but I will be back to this one for sure as well because, like I said, it does have a nice fruity top with a slightly booziness and that warmth. But that's it for this one. I'm going to cut the video there, guys. Have you tried anything Parfums de Nicolai? Do you have any recommendations? Or Il Profumo? I've really heard more or less nothing from this brand, so if there's any recommendations you have for that or any thoughts you have on the brand, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.